just as we were about ready to get working on our firewood piles and splitting and stacking wood that we already had, the guys, local tree service that brings us the wood chips for our back to Eden garden, delivered a truckload, a pile of white oak that they took from a tree that has apparently been dead for a while and standing. So this should be some pretty dry wood. So we're gonna get into this, start cutting it today, splitting and stacking, and we'll check to see what the moisture content on it actually is. Doesn't look like much. That's one tank of gas. So got the other half of the pile to go and really looks nice. Fill it back up and run it again. Hopefully get to the other side of the pile, and then it's going to be time for lunch before we start splitting. But that's the way I like to work. I don't know about other people, but I like to go tank to tank, is fill it up and then run it through all the way through until run out of gas, then take a break, fill it back up and run again. So, all right, here we go. So close. Just got these last few logs here, a couple of big ones and some small ones, and that's it. So it'll be 3 tanks of gas and we'll get this knocked out, and then it'll be time to start splitting and stacking. But for now, I'm gonna go jump in the pool and eat something for lunch. It started raining yesterday afternoon, so we're back at it today. I wanted to get to the point of this video, and especially the title of the video, which is this quote so often attributed to Henry Ford: "Chop your own wood and it will warm you twice." I've always wondered, did he actually say that? So I was reading this book by Lars Mytting, Norwegian Wood, and in it he shares this quote, except he attributes it to Henry David Thoreau. And I thought, that makes sense, a lot more sense than Henry Ford. So I did some research and looked into it a little bit and found, I'm not the only one that had this question, and found a page, a web page devoted to this question and the etymology of the quote. So I thought I'd share it with you in this video. So here's the thing. The quote actually goes back really to probably early America, when most folks were cutting and heating with wood. Now, the earliest example of it in print, in writing, is from a guy named Joseph Denny, who wrote under the pseudonym of Oliver Old School Esquire in a publication called The Portfolio. Now, he's writing these letters in the same way that Ben Franklin wrote the Do-Good letters or the Poor Richard's Almanac under pseudonyms. And so Denny is writing letters, these letters back from France, as I show you here, talking about how these folks in the country would cut down wood, throw it down a hill from the mountain, and then had to collect it and carry it home on their shoulders. And he says, the proverb of the country is that wood warms a man twice. And this is from 1808. But by the time Henry David Thoreau writes Walden and publishes it in 1854, this has been in writing for almost 50 years. In fact, that earliest usage of it predates in print Henry David Thoreau by 9 years. So, it's obviously in common usage. And even in Walden, when Thoreau uses it, he's quoting his driver, a driver who says it to him. And there he says, they warmed me twice, once while I was splitting them and again when they were on the fire, so that no fuel could give out more heat. Okay, fast forward, in print, the usage that gets attributed to Henry Ford is what these folks found doing research was from a 1916 article in the St. Louis Dispatch talking about the fact that Henry Ford had carved in his mantle over his fireplace this quotation from Thoreau, chop your own wood and it will warm you twice. So it wasn't Henry Ford, it wasn't even Henry David Thoreau. It's a quote that goes back really to early America, to common folks heating with wood. Really probably anybody that had to go out and cut, split, stack firewood in order to cook or heat. But it kind of solves the question for me and a wonder of, did Henry Ford really say this? The answer is no. It had been being used for a long time before Henry Ford even came around. All right, well, it's time for us to actually get back to work. Got it all cut. Took two and a quarter tanks of gas. One of the things I should have done between that first tank and second tank, and we did between the second and third, was just to hit the chainsaw with a hand file a little bit, a couple of 3 or 4 strokes on each of those chisels to sharpen them back up, to repoint. Greatly increases the efficiency of the saw, how much wood you get cut per tank of gas, especially when you're cutting something hard like this oak. All right, well, before we get to splitting all of this and getting it stacked up, don't want to bore you, but do want to get to the thing we've talked about throughout the video, which is testing this idea that a tree that has been dead and standing for a long time is dry. So we're gonna split a few pieces real quick and put the moisture meter on it and see how dry it really is. Okay, so we got some pieces split, but I figured before we put the moisture meter on those, let's put it on some kiln dried 2x4 and see what the moisture content is on this. It's running at a little over 5%. All right, this is a limb, I'm assuming somewhere from near the top of the tree, which in theory should probably be the driest, somewhere between 26 and 30%, about 28%. That's not very dry if that's up near the top. All right, so some other pieces a little bit lower down on the tree. Interestingly, as we go down the tree, we're about 21%. Here's another limb, same thing, about 20%. And then a piece even further down, about 19% on this one. Doesn't really matter who said it. If you heat with wood, it will warm you more than once. Whew, and we didn't even have to go get this wood. So if you are thinking about heating with wood, if you had to go get it, cut down the tree, then cut it into pieces, move it to your property, split it, stack it, and then move it back to your house again. What is that? Gonna heat you about 5 times before you even get it into the wood stove or fireplace to heat you that last time. But man, it's worth it. We love heating with firewood. Love everything about this whole process. Maybe we're just weird like that. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it interesting like we did about the etymology of this quote. Thanks for watching. We look forward to seeing you in the next video here from St. Isidore's Farm. Until then, take care and God bless.